Donald Trump has announced that the US has carried out a military attack against the country of Venezuela and captured its president, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, and abducted them out of the country. It has not yet been revealed where they are. There's a couple of points that are really important for all of us to note. The first is that this action must be condemned in the strongest possible terms because it is unlawful, both in terms of international law, but also in terms of the laws of the United States of America, which state that if the US is to carry out military action against another country, it needs the permission of the US Congress. None has happened in this case. The second thing is that international law, in any event, prohibits one country from attacking another country in order to cause regime change. Those of us who believe in democracy believe that a bad government, to the extent that you have one, must be replaced by a democratically elected government, not by a coup, either engineered locally or done by a foreign country. And therefore, in this context, this must be condemned. The second thing is that there will be a lot said about the fact that the government of Venezuela was oppressive, the elections were rigged, and so on. That notwithstanding, this is about the principles of international law. There are many things that many of us do not like about the governing systems of other countries. China, could be Australia, it could be any other country. None of our countries has got the right to go and invade that country, capture its president, abduct that president out of the country, and cause instability in that country and in the region, as it will happen now. It is not permitted in international law. And therefore, to the extent that anybody makes these kind of excuses, they must be rejected with the contempt that they deserve. The third thing is that we must understand the nature of the government that we have in the United States. It is unlike any other. And those of us who have studied carefully the history of the evolution of the events towards the Second World War and what Adolf Hitler did in Europe, causing instability and murder of tens of millions of people right across the world. It began in this way, with a torrent of lies about what the government of Poland, Czechoslovakia, and other places were doing, which was not true, as a pretext in order to attack them and steal their resources and install governments which were not otherwise legitimated by the people of those countries. It's important that we see the signs, and they've been there since the beginning of the Trump administration. The attacks on Venezuela have carried on for months, including the attack on fishermen and many other people unidentified in the Caribbean, which are under investigation by the US Congress as we speak, under the pretext that this is about drugs. The US has also been unjustifiably doing acts of piracy and attacking Venezuelan oil tankers off the Atlantic and off the Caribbean and impounding their oil. This is lawlessness. There is nothing here that says any of us must make any excuses for the Trump administration. The final thing I want to say, it is time that lovers of democracy and international law across the world need to stand together. They need to stand up when something is wrong on principle. It is wrong. In the same way that some of us condemned Russia's attack on Ukraine, similarly here, this is no different. Because when the United States does this, it potentially destabilizes the world, because it says other countries as well can attack their neighbors without consequence because they've got a stronger military. We call upon the UN Security Council to convene as fast as possible. And I think we all need to recognize that there is a president in the United States who does not adhere to either to US domestic law and does not adhere to international law, and is therefore leading the United States as a rogue state, which must be seen as such. It's very important that we stand together on the basis of international solidarity behind international law and make sure that this action is reversed, because if it is allowed to stand, it portends very poorly for the rest of the world and global stability. And those of us who say nothing and vacillate in the face of this illegal action, we will live to regret our silence and our complicity in what happens next.